Hello everyone, Stephen here from Redolessence with another fragrance review. Today we have a fragrance from the house of Thierry Mugler, and this one is called Mugler Cologne. Now before I delve into the heart of the review, I just want to give a shout out to a very special somebody. His name is Rene. His YouTube channel's name is Mr. Zayaz81. I'm going to leave a link down in the description section below. Please make sure to visit his channel. Let him know that I sent you. Watch his videos. Comment on a few of them. He's an excellent guy. He's pumping out solid reviews, and he's getting very personal in his reviews as well. He just did one on Midnight in Paris by Van Cleef & Arpels and Coney Island by Bond No. 9. And he has so much to bring to the table, and he's just a great guy. So make sure to check out his channel. Let him know that I sent you. Now, let's get down to the heart of the review. This one is on Mugler Cologne by Thierry Mugler. Now, this is like the Peter Brady of the bunch. And what I mean by that is that Angel Men, the original Angel Men, I should say, was released in 1996. And that's, you know, an iconic fragrance, slowly but surely becoming a classic. And then Pure Malt was released in 2009 and re-released this year. So that seems to be getting a lot of attention. Then of course this doesn't necessarily have the reputation of the original Angel Men, so it's kind of stuck in the middle, and I think this one tends to get overlooked. At the same time, I feel like it does have something very special going for it, so that's why I decided to make this video, because I wanted to address those key points. Now, first off, just a little bit of brief history on this one. This is a fragrance that was made for people who hate fragrances, or people who don't like to wear fragrances. Those are Thierry Mugler's words himself. He wanted to make one that just smelled clean, that didn't really smell like anything in particular, and this one was inspired by a bar of soap. That's right. So Thierry Mugler visited Morocco when he was much younger, and he came across a bar of soap that smelled a lot like this fragrance. And one is left to assume that he never came across that bar of soap, or he tried but to no avail, and in 2001 he hired master perfumer Alberto Morillas to compose Mugler Cologne, and he's responsible for many iconic fragrances like Versace Pour Homme, Vanille 44, Acqua di Gio. So he composed this one, and it does smell like a bar of soap. It does indeed smell very clean. I think there's a very citrus opening. Some would beg to differ, and there's a floral aspect to it as well. So we're going to cover that when we talk about the way this one smells. But this is also a unisex fragrance. That's something that I appreciate from this house, is that this is one of the few designer houses that has released a unisex fragrance. And indeed, I can picture a man wearing this just as much as I can picture a woman wearing this. So we're already satisfying a few different themes. Another one is that this one is made out to look very futuristic. Of course, from the green liquid inside to the seemingly triangular shape of the bottle, it almost resembles like a shooting star or a comet falling out of space. And indeed, if you saw the advertisement for this one, it's a man and a woman embracing each other, holding a bottle of this stuff on what appears to be a distant planet. So of course, there's a futuristic theme that they're aiming to convey. And then of course, they're also wanting to make a fragrance that was very much like the traditional cologne. What do I mean by that? The first eau de cologne concentration was released in Cologne, Germany, or was developed, I should say, in Cologne, Germany back in 1709, and the traditional colognes were citrus heavy up on top. And that's exactly what this one is. So this is an effort on behalf of the Thierry Mugler house, or Thierry Mugler himself, to release a fragrance that satisfied a few different themes. So let's see how well he did at satisfying each one. So with that being said, let's transition over into the way that this one smells. Now, as far as the way this one smells, I feel like this fragrance has something very unique going for it. So just to formally run through the notes, in the top we have bergamot, which is an ingredient that's very traditionally used in perfumery. We have neroli, which is a super expensive ingredient. You could look at buying a pound of neroli absolute. I'm talking about natural, essential neroli oil for a little over $600, so super pricey, but I'm given to understand that the one used in this fragrance is synthetic, so you still get the essence of neroli or that smell without really breaking the bank. So this is a very good value for what it's worth. And then you also have petitgrain, which is a very versatile ingredient in the sense that, from what I'm given to understand, petitgrain essential oil can be extracted from the stem of the plant, the bark of the plant, and the leaves of the plant. Now, it can also be extracted from the small unripe fruits of the plant, which is what I believe is used in this fragrance, because it does have that citrus quality up on top. So I think that was an excellent relation with the bergamot. And then of course, petitgrain also smells a bit like neroli as well, because they're both from the same botanical species. So I think that was an excellent triad of ingredients to use in the opening of this fragrance, and it just gives it that citrusy, zesty, you know, fresh type of opening. Now, as we transition over into the mid of this fragrance, we are getting African orange blossom, which only contributes and accentuates the floral characteristics of this fragrance. I'm also getting a little bit of iris, which I feel contributes to that soapy accord that this fragrance has. But there's also a third very special ingredient in this one. Now, the Thierry Mugler house didn't really want to give away what that ingredient is, but it's only known as the letter S. So what is that S ingredient in this one? Really, we're just really leaving it up to us to smell the fragrance and just take guesses or take stabs at what it could possibly be. I'm going to take a guess, and I'm going to say that because in the dry down this fragrance does smell a lot like Molecule 01 by Eccentric Molecules, I'm going to take a guess and say that the secret ingredient is Iso E Super. Now, Iso E Super is a synthetic ingredient that's used in a lot of perfumes that has a pheromone-like effect. It actually works with everybody's body chemistry in a very different, unique, special kind of way. So it gives the fragrance a little bit of versatility, and I think that is a very special ingredient to use in perfumes, and that could potentially be the special ingredient used in the mid of this fragrance. Then, of course, in the base, white musk is listed as a base note, but I'm also getting a lot of vetiver in this one. So the vetiver gives it that green, earthy, almost rugged type of quality. So if you don't like something that smells like a pure bar of soap, which in my opinion would be Prada's Infusion Dome, then you can settle for this alternative. And I think that gives it a little rugged quality. So it's a fragrance that smells very clean, but smells very earthy, and it has a little bit of a kick at the same time. So with the smell covered, let's transition over into the rating for this fragrance. Now, first up, we have uniqueness, and I ended up giving this one a 7 out of 10. Why? Because I don't feel like Alberto Morillas took too many creative risks with this one. There was a certain theme in mind that he was aiming to satisfy, and he hit the nail right on the head. But at the same time, it's not too unique. It is a non-linear fragrance, but I don't get too much of a difference between the mid and the base, just in the opening when those citrus elements dissipate. And then aside from that, it isn't too challenging on the nose either, so nothing too unique about it, but it's still a very nice, clean, fresh kind of smell. So a 7 out of 10 for uniqueness. Then up next we have longevity, and this one earned a 7 out of 10. This one lasted a good 10 hours on my skin. However, after the first couple of hours, it did quickly turn into a skin scent. So I ended up giving this one a 7 out of 10. And then for projection, I gave it a 6 out of 10. This one projects very, very well for the first hour and a half to 2 hours of application, at least on my skin. And then, like I said, it turns into a skin scent. And I feel like I do have to reapply with this one, which is something that, I'm open to doing just because it's a very good value. So a 6 out of 10 for projection. And then, of course, up next we have versatility, earned a slightly higher mark. I gave this one an 8 out of 10. Why? Because this one does indeed smell like a bar of soap. It smells very clean, and of course there's never a bad occasion for you to smell clean. Especially if you don't like I said, if you don't like Prada's Infusion Dome and you want something with a little bit of kick to it, a little rugged aspect or undertone of, earthiness, this is an excellent alternative. However, just because of that citrus quality up on top and that earthy quality, that earthy undertone, I could picture somebody wearing this in the spring and the summer, not so much in the fall and the winter. I don't think this one would stand a chance. But being that it is unisex, I gave this one a higher mark than I originally intended. So an 8 out of 10 I think is very appropriate for this one. And then up last we have presentation with a 9 out of 10. Now the box, there's nothing too special going on in this one. This is sort of engraved in there, very nice finish on there, even a little gold finish on the name Thierry Mugler. This is a little bit transparent up on here, the M logo. The one thing that I really do appreciate the most about this bottle is that this cap is interchangeable. And just to show you guys what I'm talking about, it unscrews, you can take it right off, and they do have an alternative cap that you can put up there in its place that allows the fragrance to be used as a splash. So you can actually unscrew this one by a little bit, and you can actually choose the desired amount of drops that you want to spray on your skin. And of course, when you're done shaving, you can just put it right on your face, get you smelling very clean, and it aims to satisfy that theme very, very well. So like I said, themes, right? That's something that's very important with the presentation on this one, because they did aim to make this one smell like a bar of soap. And then of course you have the unisex versatility aspect, and then of course you do have the futuristic aspect, and then you do have it aiming to smell like the very first cologne, or the very, just giving it that traditional approach. So I did think it was very jumbled, and given that this is a very simple type of smell and it's not challenging on the nose, I feel like maybe it was a little jumbled up there in the presentation department. But overall, I give this one a very high mark. The bottle looks very nice with the green liquid, and it really just stands out on my shelf. So a 9 out of 10 I think would suffice and is very appropriate for this one. And then that earns this fragrance an overall mark of 37 out of 50. Now the question for the day is, if you've gotten your nose around Mugler Cologne and Original Vetiver by Creed. The two have been compared a lot lately, and I was just wondering, do you get the comparison? Do you notice any similarities between the two? Do you notice any differences between the two? This one was released in 2001, whereas Original Vetiver was released in 2004. So given the history behind this one and the earlier release date, I give this one a 7 out of 10 for uniqueness as opposed to a 6 out of 10, just because I feel like it does have that authenticity. But my opinion, Original Vetiver smells a bit fresher than this one, but for the value, I tend to reach for this one much, much more. I usually tend to save Original Vetiver for a more formal occasion, especially a casual day out in the spring or the summer. So please let me know what you think by leaving a comment down below. Once again, thank you so much for watching. This has been Steven with another fragrance review from Redolessence, and check out Rene's channel. Thanks for watching.